Friends, when you're obsessed, you don't need to write your goals down. You don't need to make up little cards and say morning affirmations. When you're obsessed, you carry a vision 24 hours a day. Nothing else matters or enters into your mind. Let's address the answers of PMA philosophy gives to the burning questions. I have written specific goals. I say my affirmations daily, but why am I still broke and unemployed? The answer PMA writers would give to you are as follows. 1. Your goals are unrealistic, yet at the same time they preach whatever the mind of man can conceive, it can achieve, and nothing is impossible. But as soon as you make that statement, they warn you that this goal is impossible for the ordinary person to achieve. Number 2, you did not write your goals correctly. You did not try hard enough or write them clear enough. Your timetable was not fully complete. Your spelling was bad. Your subconscious got the words messed up, etc. In the real world, these reasons you failed are called excuses. Excuses such as, they love to say, are like buts. Everybody has one. Why should they say excuses are like buts when PMA books are full of them? Every book is full of hundreds of reasons why you won't be successful. So you see what's really happening is the PMA MMA trap. Their statements are just big words used to impress the simple faith and hopes of the readers, but of no practical use in the real world of work, effort, and physical ability. It has nothing to do with your age, education, color, sex, age, and weight. Suppose you are a new parent. Like most parents, you want to be the best parent you can be. And if you follow the techniques given by PMA authors, here's how you would reach your goal of being a good parent. You'd have to write down, 1. I love my newborn child. I'm going to be a good parent. Every day in every way I'm going to be a better and better parent. Every day you have to say your affirmations. You have to say that you love her. You have to say that you want to be with her, your child, all the time. If your friend says you're too ugly, you begin to worry. So you reread your PMA book and realize, oh wait, I do love my child. Your child spills the milk, you get upset, then you reread your PMA book because you know that that was just a negative feeling when you should be positive about your children. You know, statements, you have to keep telling yourself that you love your children. Now you're not sure if you really love them anymore because you know they did something that made you cry or got upset, so you decide to leave them outside for the dogs to eat. Ridiculous! Yet, no more ridiculous than how other PMA people tell you you can manifest true emotional feelings using affirmations. God gave you an obsession about your child the second they were born to ensure the safety of that child. Your obsession about your child will never leave you. You'll love your children for the rest of your life. Even loser mothers and fathers love their children. You can use that same power of an obsession to be successful in any job or opportunity that you pursue. When you use the power of OMA to control your outside activities, you block the negative or positive influences out there, and even nothing will even be allowed to enter in that would cause you to stop pursuing your goal. It has to be that way if you ever want to get anything really done of value in your life. The real world does not give great rewards for being positive. It gives great rewards for hard work and for persistence. Ask any mother if having a child is a positive experience. And if everything about them is just wonderful and positive. Sometimes your children can drive you crazy. But you know what? You never forget that you love them because you're obsessed with them. The American Heritage Dictionary defines obsession as a compulsive preoccupation with a fixed idea. Now, some psychologists would suggest that this might be a neurosis or a complex that should be avoided. You can't avoid having obsessions. You can choose which ones you want to pursue, and you can focus on the ones that you want to be obsessed with that will make you successful. Now, I don't want you to be obsessed with washing your hands 24 hours a day. There can be deviant obsessions, and these should be avoided. But you have to have obsessions in your life. You have to be obsessed with eating every day. You have to be obsessed with breathing. You have to be obsessed with being healthy. You have to be obsessed with keeping your body clean. Your heart is obsessed with beating. Your brain is obsessed with thinking. You're obsessed with things that you may not be aware of. For example, how important is it to you, do you think, that your personal hygiene is? Did you remember to take a bath and wear deodorant today, to brush your teeth, comb your hair? These things are a constant part of your life, and you woke up with them and didn't have to remind yourself, I need to put on deodorant, I need to take a bath, I need to brush my teeth. You're obsessed with them. You would feel terrible if you lost your deodorant and stunk all the time. You would feel horrible if you couldn't take a bath. You would feel just out of it if you couldn't be clean and have personal hygiene. These are perfectly normal, healthy obsessions that we all have on a daily basis. Now, the indicator of whether or not you actually have an obsession is when it is taken away, what do you feel like when you can't have it anymore? See what it's like when you have it withdrawn from your life. Then you know if it was an obsession or not. Here we have a teenager named Lisa. She has an obsession with her boyfriend, Tim, who lives in an adjacent apartment or near in the neighborhood. And Lisa is obsessed with Tim. And no matter what she's doing all day, anytime, school and working, sleeping, everything, she's thinking about Tim. Now, Lisa's parents don't like it, and she tells them that they're going to take him to Disney World next week, and that's going to get her mind off of Tim. And the first thing that comes to Lisa's mind when she goes, well, I will be able to see Tim. She would not stop thinking about Tim. Whenever she's eating, she's thinking about Tim. Whenever she's drinking, she's thinking about Tim. When she's in school, she's thinking about Tim. She's obsessed with Tim. She's going to figure out a way how not to even go on the vacation so she can continue to see Tim. And she might even ask her parents, can Tim go? You know, separating her from Tim is not going to get the obsession out of her mind. It's the same thing with you. She's going to work. How can you work to make your obsession a success for you to do something positive with? You know, she has negative and positive feelings about Tim, but she's obsessed with him, so he could be ugly short of. He could be a murderer. He could be crazy things, and she'll still be obsessed. The only thing that's really on her mind is Tim, 24 hours a day. She's obsessed with him. And nothing you can do can stop her with this obsession. You know, you can say, listen, Lisa, I'll buy you a new car if you'll stop thinking about Tim. It won't work. Lisa, I'll give you a spanking if you see that boy again. It won't work. Lisa, I don't want you seeing that boy again. I'm going to take your phone away from you. It won't work. Nothing can stop her obsession with Tim. Now, do you think if she just had a positive mental attitude about Tim that this would be the same thing? If she just said, well, gee, I love Tim every day, I'm thinking about Tim and all that, and had to say her mantras and prayers and stuff, it would be the same effect on her life? No, it wouldn't be. And it wouldn't be the same effect on your life if you felt the same way about your obsession with being rich, your obsession with excelling in sports, your obsession with making the next business presentation, your obsession with making the next call, your obsession with closing the sale. When you're obsessed, and related back to Lisa and Tim, it's just something that's with you all the time. You know, and you can channel it, you can focus it, and you can correct it if it's a problem, if you need to correct it as a problem. Let me explain that a little bit. You know, if Lisa's dating a bad guy, a criminal or something, you know, and she's obsessed with him, it's pretty hard to get him to break up. But you can correct it by taking the obsession away. So how do you take an obsession with a child infatuation with another person? By replacing it with a more dominant obsession, such as a devotion to church, to God, to Jesus, such as a new opportunity in their life, a new business opportunity, a new friendship opportunity. You have to get their mind into a new obsessive plane of action. If you have employees that are obsessed with not making their calls, if they're not making their calls, they're really obsessed with not making those calls. You have to understand what I'm just saying. They hate it. They hate to be on that phone. They hate to be making a presentation. They hate to be making a sales call. They're actually obsessed with not doing what you're paying them to do. So how do you solve that problem? You have to give them an obsession with something that they would enjoy doing. If they don't want to make calls, how can you make them obsessed with making presentations that don't involve a call? Maybe you have to be the one that hires somebody that makes the initial call for them. Maybe you have to come up with a new script that they feel comfortable with. Maybe you have to take them on a training class that shows them how they can take these calls gradually, small, and make it their obsession to just make one call a day. I'm obsessed with just making 2 calls a day. Not that I'm obsessed with I have to make 100 calls a day. You have to help your employees understand that they can develop an obsession with making sales presentations if they're in obsession, if their actual goal is to make a great living in sales. Now, if they're only there because it's the only job in town, they hate it, they don't want to make the calls, they don't want to be working for you, they don't want to make the presentations, you are not going to overcome that obsession. You might as well fire them and find someone who is going to do a great job. Harvey Mackay wrote a great book once called Swimming with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive. And he talks about, he had an envelope company, which there was millions, hundreds of thousands of companies that make envelopes. And he was one of the most successful in the world. He had a 14-stage interview process. They met with their people they were going to hire 14 different times to be assured that they got the right person for that job. And yet many jobs, their entire employment application, but fill out that application, you're hired. And then you wonder why this person is not successful in the insurance business, is not successful in the food business, is not successful in the real estate business, when their entire application process was, fill out the application, you're hired. Oh, well, you have a degree in real estate, you passed your real estate exam, you're hired. Now we're going to make you do something that you hate. Making cold calls, trying to find out if someone wants to sell their house. That doesn't work. Wouldn't it be more intelligent if you were like Sewell Village Cadillac and was obsessed with service? And your entire goal was, when someone walked into your Cadillac dealership, you were obsessed from the minute they hit that lot to making them feel important and giving them great service. Giving them 100% great service. That's your goal. That's your obsession. That's your desire at your Cadillac dealership. And when everybody you hire is hired under this one attitude, are you part of our obsession? If you come to work here as a mechanic, are you obsessed with doing the best service on that car that you can? If you come to work here sweeping the floors, cleaning up at the end of the night, are you obsessed with getting that floor clean as you can get it? When you answer the phone here, are you obsessed with making the best presentation you can be on that phone? Then I'm going to hire you. When you hire a salesman, are you obsessed with giving someone the best service they've ever had in their life when they go to buy a Cadillac? Or are you just obsessed with lying to them, tricking them, and trying to get them to make a sale? Perfect example, I was at a Ford dealership the other day trying to find out if I could get my daughter a nice little cheap car. I walked in there, and in Texas they have something called the Clean Air Act to give you $3,000 for your old junky car. She has a car 10 years old, it automatically qualifies. I walked into the biggest Ford dealer in Dallas, to a salesman that had been there 12 years, had a little button, or 20 years, had a little button on, and said, hey, I need to find out about that Texas Clean Air thing. He said, oh, I never heard of it. What? You know, he said, yeah, I know it's something about you can get money if you have an old clunker car. The state has to give you a pass to get that done. No, it doesn't. It's automatic. He's been there for 20 years. It's one of the biggest programs in the world for selling cars. He's never heard of it. Just a lie. There's another guy in town that says, and we don't forget, every day we got these $4,500 new Kias. If I can't sell it to you, I'm just going to give it to you. And he gives it to you every day. I called him up and said, listen, you know, I have an old car. I want to trade in for that $4,500 Kia and apply that $3,000 Texas Clean Air Act to it. Well, that'll be $7,000. But the car was only $4,500. I'm giving you $3,000 trade-in in the state of Texas. And yet now I still owe you $7,000. Yeah, we ain't got any more of those. Now, here's my point. Not that all car dealers are liars and scumbags. No. One of these dealers is obsessed with service. The other is obsessed with cheating you and making sales no matter what. Lying means nothing to them. They're not going to be around in 10 years. They're not going to be around in 40 years. They don't have repeat customers because they tricked them and lied and tricked them and made them sign up for insurance and stuff and other things, and to get their underside painted, they actually have air in their tires when they bought it. Instead of being obsessed with providing the best service possible. If you run a car dealership and you're obsessed with the best service possible, if you're an insurance salesman, you're obsessed with giving these clients the best coverage possible so that nothing could happen to their house, their car, their health that they wouldn't be covered with. If you're obsessed with that, if you understand, listen, I want you to know I care. I'm obsessed with helping you get the best insurance for your family because I care about you. Not, I'm obsessed with selling you an insurance policy and I can't wait to go talk to the next guy. I don't care every time I say no, you're going to buy it because I'm going to trick you into doing it. Do you see what I'm pointing at? You can take the obsessive mental attitude and apply it to your business by hiring people and by teaching them and training them how to use obsessions for service. For service. And then they'll make the sales. Never worrying about the commissions. Worrying about the service. Worrying about giving the person more than they asked for. Making them feel wonderful. Making them feel great. If you're obsessed with that, you're going to make a lot more happen to achieve the great things in your life. Was it Andrew Carnegie or one of them said, I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 1,000 people than 1,000% of the efforts of myself? That's what an obsession can do. He was obsessed with hiring as many people as he could and giving them an opportunity to change their lives. And that's why he became the world's biggest steel magnate. He became the biggest, and then he started one of the world's biggest philanthropical foundations. He was obsessed with helping people to change their lives. Not was obsessed with making steel. He was obsessed with helping people make their lives better. If you'll apply the OMA principle to your business, if you'll apply it when you're hiring someone, when you talk to them, don't just say, fill out the application, you're hired. Let me tell you what our philosophy is here. We're obsessed with giving people the best service when they walk into our Best Buy. We treat them like they own the store, and we're here to give them the best product, the best service, at the best price that we could possibly have that they can afford. And if they can't afford it, we're going to help them with the financing. You'll have nothing but great employees that will do a great job because they'll also be obsessed with the service. And when they're obsessed with serving, when they're obsessed with service, you're going to have nothing but great things happen for you in your life and in your business.